We have some new documents in the Idaho case. Let's go over them. Hey guys, this is Jules with True Crime Reactions. Disclaimer. Everything stated in this video is my opinion and my opinion only. And just like everything else in these cases we discuss here on this channel, everything is alleged. Okay, so I have everything set back up. I have it, hopefully it's right, and it sounds a lot better. I'm also going to try to control my voice more. Now, I used to do karaoke a lot, and I had to be taught how to control the microphone because I have a very strong speaking voice and a very strong singing voice. So I'm really, really loud. So I had to learn how to like pull the microphone away and maneuver my head when I was hitting certain notes and stuff like that. So I'm just going to have to learn that with this. I don't want to get anything that's like soundboard and all this fancy schmancy audio levels and blah blah blah. I don't want to do none of that. Like I mentioned, you guys, I'm that millennial that prefers a French press over all these fancy machines and stuff like that. I don't like tech. I just want to plug in my microphone and press the little red button and talk. I don't want to have to deal with none of that stuff. So again, hopefully this works. Hopefully everything's good to go and we won't have to change this for a while. Now, we do have two new documents in the Idaho case. One of them has to do with experts and investigators being allowed access to the IGG materials that Judge allowed the defense to have access to. Because remember, he allowed them to have access to like certain parts of it, but not all of it, which is odd enough in itself. And then we also have the official denial for everything that happened at the hearing. Now, the first one, like I said, is the one where they are asking for certain people to have access to the IGG information that Judge allowed the defense to have access to after his entire in-camera review was completed. Now, what we know about that is that he gave the feds basically and all the other agencies that were involved in the IGG information like a deadline. And, Judge doesn't have jurisdiction or authority over a lot of these agencies. So it was basically just him being like, hey, I need you to show your work because, the defense has to come up with their own work product. They have to have your work product in order to put everything together. And they're missing all of your work. We see your answer. We see where you're wanting us to believe that this is like, where this all points, but you're not showing us what you did to get there. And that's what we need. So hopefully there was more to that than what we were being told, because we were just told from the state that it was just like notes written down, nothing real. There was no data, no actual raw data strings or anything for them to really look at. It was just like chicken scratch notes and the answer. That's it. So I don't know. I wish we did what exactly was given to Judge in that in-camera review, because like I mentioned, he allowed the defense to have portions of it. Like not everything that he saw, he allowed the defense to then have access to. Which makes you wonder, like that honestly gives me so many more questions, because if this is Bryan Kohberger's genealogy, like his family tree, his markers, his DNA, and all of the things, I don't understand why they can't just have all of it. Because like I mentioned, I don't care if we, the public, ever actually get to see what this IGG stuff is, because I understand them wanting to protect people's names. Because just because someone is related to Bryan Kohberger, people will go after them and try to find, a bunch of dirt on them and just be a-holes, So I understand them wanting to keep a lot of these names, zipped up or whatever, even though it seems redundant because it has nothing to do with the case. I still understand the whole point, but I don't understand why the defense is not allowed to just see all of it. Like, I thought they had to. Like, isn't that's another reason I'm sort of confused about all of this. I wasn't aware that, like, the defense in the state don't have to share 100% everything that they have. And that's why I'm confused about all of this IGG stuff, because they have yet to file their motion of limine. that they have been telling us for a long time now that they were going to be filing in order to make all of this IGG stuff not even important anymore. But instead, they've allowed all of these fights to continue about what the importance of the IGG is and where it's going to stand and who needs to be protected and what it all really means, while stating that in the end they're going to file a motion to make it null and void. The same thing that happened at this last hearing where they were talking about, oh, we have to have summer sessions because of the schools and the hotels and the parking and the blah, 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 blah. But then talking about filing a motion to change the venue. And then they actually did. They actually finally, the defense, filed the motion to change the venue, but the state has yet to file the motion of limine. And they've been saying from the beginning, and we've been sort of being told from, the search warrant information from Don Daniels about how they wanted all of that IGG information about the knife sheath to be completely disregarded when it came to getting the search warrant for Bryan Kohberger's office and apartment approved. Hey, I know about this, but I need you guys to act like we don't know about this because I just need you to, for just in case purposes. Are these those just in case purposes? Because look at everything that's happening now over something that A was asked to just be like excluded from all of the reasons that were being used for approval, and B, we're supposed to be having a motion of limine filed in order to exclude it from importance. I don't understand why all of this insanity is being allowed to continue, knowing that it's literally so pointless. So pointless. Now, this is titled Motion to Allow Certain Experts and Investigators Protected Access to View IGG Materials. It states, Counsel for Mr. Kohberger has reviewed the materials currently available under the court's sealed order for disclosure of IGG information and protective order filed with the court on 12/29/23 and request the court to include additional members of the defense team access to the materials. Mr. Kohberger specifically requests the current protective order to expand and allow defense experts Dr. Leah Larkin, Bicka Barlow, and Stephen Mercer access to the materials. Further, Mr. Kohberger requests that the criminal investigators that are part of the defense team be allowed to have access to the materials as well, expanding the current protective order to include additional members of the defense team, and experts includes each additional person subject to the restrictions in the protective order. This request is grounded in Mr. Kohberger's Sixth Amendment right to effective assistance of counsel and counsel's ongoing duty to investigate the case brought against Mr. Kohberger. Access to these materials is necessary to investigate how and when Mr. Kohberger was identified as a suspect. Because remember, up until today, the defense team and Bryan have no idea when the finger initially got pointed at him. As far as we all know, and I have mentioned this, I don't even know how many times, as far as we understand it, it was not until the FBI completed the IGG information, they then called Moscow PD and gave them information on a very small family tree. And from the way that it seems, the way that it's been worded, is they handed them this family tree and basically was like, one of these are your guy. And there was like multiple family members from this DNA sample that I don't know how it really works. They never said they actually gave Moscow PD Bryan Kohberger's name. Everything that we have seen and everything that we have read just states that they handed Moscow PD a very small family tree, and that's where they got Bryan's information from. Now, they were looking at other places before that, which is why this is such a critical part of this entire case. They've told us that they surveilled other people to get cigarette butts to take saliva from to do DNA testing on, that they did DNA testing on other people, that there's three unidentified male DNAs that for some reason got halted. Now, did they get halted whenever the FBI called Moscow with this small family tree, or what made them stop at 3 male DNAs? They didn't think to go any further about whose male DNA it was, because they can't exclude that DNA as being unimportant if it's unidentified. They can't mark it off because they don't know who it belongs to. So, considering all of those things, it really does seem as if they didn't have any idea who Bryan Kohberger was or if he was going to be involved in this or not until the FBI called them after they did the IGG work. But who were they looking at in the meantime? There were other people that they had their eyes on, that they were spending tax dollars on to be surveilled and to go around trying to find information for. They weren't surveilling Bryan. Not as far as we can tell. They never tried to get any trash from his Washington University office or from him being in the cafeteria or from him throwing anything away in the dumpsters outside of his apartment complex. They literally waited until he was in Pennsylvania at his parents' house, then took trash out of his parents' trash can, and then did all of these crazy shenanigans instead of just going to him directly. That's why all of this is so crazy and is leaving us with so many questions. And again, it's ridiculous to me that our defendant here is claiming that he himself doesn't even know the first time he was pointed at. Well, it doesn't make any sense to us either. And they have way more information than we do. That's it for this document. I think I'm going to go ahead and end this video here, and I will do a completely separate video for the other document. Let me see what that one was called one more time. I know it had to do with the hearing, but I want to get the right title here. Order denying defendant's motion to reconsider and motion for permissive appeal. Honestly, I mean, I'm going to do a video on it because I try to do a video on all of the documents in this case, but all that this one is like a summarization of everything that happened at the hearing, and then the judge kind of like putting his own commentary in, but it's in like document form, you know what I mean? And then his decision is at the end. So we will go over it, but I'm going to end this one here and do it separately because the IGG information and that whole thing to me is a monster on its own. So we're going to go ahead and talk about the other document about the reconsideration hearing in a whole nother video. Now, one thing that I did find extremely interesting here. I don't know how is it worded? Let me look. Okay. Vargas is not on this. And you remember, Vargas is like the badass, right? She's the one that got on the stand and gave like last minute testimony about all of this IGG stuff. She's completely self-taught. There was things that happened in her personal life that got her extremely interested in genealogy and genetics. And so she literally taught herself. So she's been helping a lot of people get cases solved and find family members and all of the things for like a while now. And then remember, she's also the ones that Bill Thompson sent the feds to her house after she gave her testimony. Now, as far as I can tell, her testimony has never been recanted, and I haven't seen anything anywhere like stating that she has now been withdrawn from working on the case. I don't know what you would call it whenever it's somebody who's like an expert witness to be no longer part of the case, but only Leah Larkin, Becca Barlow, and Stephen Mercer are being asked to be given permission to like look at the IGG stuff. Vargas is not. So I found that interesting because her testimony is the one that really rang out to me, and she's not on this. And it states criminal investigators that are part of the defense team. I'm going to assume that that doesn't mean people that are not law enforcement of some sort. So that wouldn't be Vargas. But I found it interesting that she's not on here. So I'm going to have to try to dig up some more information on that. But that is it for this video, you guys. If you like the way that I present this information, please don't forget to leave a like on your way out and subscribe to the channel if you are not subscribed already. See y'all.